Are we live?
We are live indeed.
Awesome. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the second Copilotverse call. The team is live from Power Platform Conference in Vegas. Demo, Anna, Sean, and we've got some friends with us as well. Hey! All right. So we're going to be doing things a little different this month. We are going to be having our friends come and talk for just a few minutes about some of the exciting announcements, some of the stuff that they've learned at Power Platform Conference. So first up is my man Cole.
All right. So the biggest thing that I learned here is you can control those things called MCP servers that everybody's all hyped about. You can do this through the managed environment functionality, and it's called advanced connectors. Inside of there, you can control each action that's on those connectors. So one of those is an MPC server. I'm gonna get that right at some point in my life. The second thing I really love about the controls is, does anybody want people to connect cross environments? No. So you can now control that also in advanced connectors. If you're not using advanced connectors in managed environments, you need to be doing that today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cole.
Awesome. Thanks, Cole. All right. Next up is my fellow MVP and fellow Kiwi, Rami Mounla.
Hey guys, how's it going? So as Nathan said, him and I came all the way from New Zealand to the community conference in here. And following up on what Cole was saying around the MCP server. So soon you're going to be able to add some new tools into your Dataverse MCP server. And that's specific around being able to create tables and to create attributes using your MCP server, which is quite revolutionary. So for the last 10 years, we've always been talking about buy over build, because SaaS products were actually the new way of doing things. They were cheaper, and then you would just pay a subscription. But now with the investment of AI, what we've noticed is that the conversation is starting to turn around, and people are starting to ask us, hey, it's actually much cheaper to build something and not to pay for a license. And then Satya Nadella himself said at the Build conference, SaaS is dead. So what does that mean moving forward? Even Charles Lamanna in the keynote at the Power Platform conference also said low code, as we know it, is dead. So what does that mean for us as the Power Platform enthusiast and consultant in this world? Well, one thing I have to say is that we have to reinvent ourselves in terms of how we actually build our solutions. You need to think about how you can use AI to do the configuration that you use to go and point and click and then go into the maker portal and then do all your configuration. Now we can do that with an MCP server with an agent. So think about it. If you have an agent that connects to Azure DevOps or whatever work management you're using, that would get a requirement, understand what needs to be done, delegate that to another agent that understands how to configure your environment using the Dataverse MCP server, then all of a sudden, you can get an agent to build your solutions. Kind of similar to what Plan is doing, the Plan Designer that was announced last year, but something very deterministic, specific to how you want to do things. So my ask for the community is, moving forward, start brushing up on your prompt skills, and then make sure you have the best prompts that can expedite the delivery of your Power Platform solutions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Look it up, the new MCP Dataverse server, and then hopefully you'll enjoy that. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Rami. Next up, I've got my man, Josh, fellow Microsoft MVP from Canada.
Hey, everyone. So in a conference this week, my favorite announcement has been around agent mode and KUA. If you don't know what KUA is, it's computer use agent. So this has been shown in Word. No more you have to copy and paste from the Copilot pane. It actually just does it for you. The same thing within Excel, and we're probably going to see the same things within PowerPoint as well. And then with that, you can also add this to any of your custom agents as well with computer use agent. You can add this to your agents in Copilot Studio, which will allow you to basically let the agent take control of the computer, which is very powerful. And it should only be used in certain situations where you need to do like RPA stuff, or you need to control legacy systems. And in that aspect, it's very powerful because it allows you to use the Copilot Studio and build these agents that kind of span across all different aspects to allow you to do all the different things that you need to do. That is definitely one of my favorite announcements. And not many people know about agent mode. So if you don't know about it, definitely go search more about it. and learn how you can use it in your organization, because it's very good for legacy systems, for when you have to search the web and web browser, and it is very powerful in that regard. Thank you, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh. Next up, I've got Hunter White, the best from the Southwest healthcare solution architect.
Hey, everybody. I think my favorite feature so far has been a lot around the model-driven apps. In the healthcare manufacturing industry, we have a lot of frontline workers who have a lot of stuff to get done, and there's a lot of pressure on quality. And so something that's very important to me is in model-driven apps, the feature of smart paste. Smart paste allows us to just simply copy and paste something from our clipboard directly into a model-driven app in such a way that they do not have to manually type in every single field. And what's also amazing, talking about a quality perspective, you do not have to accept all changes at once. You can actually just go through and review each field, and you can even like select all and then like just revert back on a couple of fields. But those features, I would say, are the most important for our frontline workers so that they can efficiently process things and review, right? Always have that human interaction to make sure we're doing things as we should. The next thing was Copilot being accessible directly from a model-driven app, being able to have like search queries and kind of have answers readily available from your Dataverse data source. So it's really helpful. I find that it is I think it's going to be one of the most successful things we do within our frontline area. But yeah, I would say that is our favorite thing. So thanks so much.
Sure.
All right, cool. Awesome. Thanks so much. So now we're going to head over to the Copilotverse team. So before I hand over to Sean, I want to quickly share last night, I participated in the world's largest agent hackathon here. And my good friend Parvez and I worked on an agent I can't wait to show you guys in an upcoming Copilotverse session. But we're working on having an agent determine duplicate items in ADO, right? It's always a thing, especially with the design thinkers who do way more ADO tickets than they should. And so we've created an agent that can detect duplicate ADO items, which is really, really cool. But yeah, it was amazing to see thousands of people in the same place working in Copilot Studio, hacking, creating some awesome stuff. All right, next I'm going to hand over to Sean, who's going to take us through some stuff.
Hey friends. So the main one that I've been looking at a lot, if you saw my latest video, is around app builder, workflows, and agents, which is Copilot Studio Lite. So it's that new version that's specifically M365 specific. I don't know if you saw the video, but basically it allows you to pretty much build agents, apps, and even pretty much power automate flows just by typing. But here's what's weird, and what I didn't mention in the video. It's strictly right now limited to first-party Microsoft connectors for workflows. So don't be expecting to connect to Salesforce or Oracle or anything separate. It's just sticking with that. A lot of people ask about ALM around it. There is no ALM because it's a personal productivity tool. That's all that's happening there. The final one that I noticed, and this is jumping outside of M365 Copilot, but the new like Power Apps experience, when people are expecting that you just chat and then you get your app afterwards. What we saw in the keynote this morning or yesterday was the fact that not only does it show the app, it also gives you this like wizard interface that like, remember how in Canvas apps, best part of Canvas apps, you can like drag and drop things. You still get that. You don't necessarily get the drag and drop, but you can click on individual elements and it'll do things like change the text size, change the color of this button. Like you still have that drag and drop stuff. So if you're thinking that the way you have to build apps now is you have to constantly chat, no. They're kind of blending both worlds. Haven't tested it. I don't know how reliable it's going to be, but that particular thing I think is going to bridge that gap of the people who love the Canvas apps like drag experience and the people who just want to type out their whole app. And so now you've heard a lot of us talking, but we actually have a demo from Damo, who is really going to light it up with this next one. I don't even know what he's going to present on because I've been so busy in other things, but I think this is going to be off the charts. Damien, take it away.
Right, folks, a slight change of scenery. I'm at another machine. Hopefully folk can hear me okay. I have got the next 20 minutes, so I've got a couple of demos to try and get through. I can hear myself as well. Is it turning? Yeah, you're turning it off. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I was going to show you a demonstration involving Microsoft 365 Copilot on my phone. And the reason that I find this particularly interesting is because I have over here a Microsoft plan. Actually, am I sharing? That's the thing. No, I'm not. Let me share first. You can tell I'm a professional. All right, let's see. Entire screen. Let's go for... Right, I hope this is coming. Is this coming through? Can you guys tell me if it's coming through? Can you tell me if my screen is coming through on the...
Yeah.
And so you've seen Planner? You've seen
Yes.
Planner? Cool. Right, folks. So what we can see on screen now is Microsoft Planner. And I'm going to use an agent to create tasks in this plan using my mobile phone. And the reason I'm demonstrating this really is to sort of highlight different ways of thinking with regards to using agents. Specifically, we think of agents as chatbots, but actually that opens up other opportunities through other platforms like your mobile phone, like through voice. And if you imagine being out on the road and you have an idea, you want to add it to your planner, the last thing you want to do is to go and fire up Microsoft Planner and go and create yourself a task. Why don't you do it by using an agent? So I have an agent that's being created. It's very simple in terms of the capability. I've added in 3 different tools or actions into the particular agent. One to be able to create a task, and it's probably worth me going into that just to show you what it looks like, because the important thing to call out are the input parameters. So you can see my group ID and my plan ID, both of them are set as custom values, which means they're fixed based on my own group ID and my own plan ID. But then when it comes to the title, if I go and have a look at customize, it's currently set to use dynamic content. And you can see there that the user might provide one or many tasks and identify each task, summarize it, keep it short, and create a new task. Don't ask them for a title. So I created this description based on iteration and testing. And if I was to use the traditional method of in the chat, like create me a task to get breakfast, we'll go with that. What will happen, of course, is the agent will reason over my ask. It will go and look at my tools. We'll see the activity coming together now, and it will go and create me a task to get breakfast. So nothing overly fancy about that. And if I go back to my planner, we can see I've now got that get breakfast task. But if I break out my mobile phone and I will go and open up Microsoft 365 on my phone like so, and I've app mentioned the task planner agent, and there's a nice little button there to activate my microphone. And I'm going to ask, can you create me a task to attend the keynote today? And we can see that going to our agent, hopefully. And in a minute, it will create me a task. And if I do a refresh on this plan, we can see that a new task is being created to attend the keynote. So that's my sort of first demonstration there, really demonstrating the power of agents, not only in the traditional form of a chatbot, but also in combination with a mobile phone and Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can talk to your custom agent and, of course, do anything you can possibly imagine. In my case, creating tasks in Planner. So that's my first demonstration. The second one I'm going to do is going to be slightly longer in the form of some of the materials I covered at the conference on Tuesday. Now I'm going to need a hand again. Can you check to see if you can see the HR agent, or is it no? Okay, right. I'm going to have to reshare. So if you just bear with me while I go and find the right window, and we should hopefully be able to see. Yep, cool. Right. So the next session I'm doing is really to take you through a whistle-stop tour of the materials that I covered at the conference on Tuesday. So I was lucky enough to present with a colleague of mine, Kendra Springer from Product Group. She and I covered the TLAs of Copilot Studio. So this was at a level 200. It was really to sort of highlight the new functionality that's out there and talk about these concepts just to raise awareness, really. And as well as there being some slides, there was obviously a demo, and I'm going to take you through the demo today. So with this being live, of course, there's every chance that the demo gods might get in the way, but we'll give it a go and see what happens. So you can see my HR boss agent on the screen right now. And the purpose of this HR boss agent is not only to call different tools. So we can see I've got 2 tools here, which I'll go over in a minute. It's also got another agent, and that's really to demonstrate the multi-agent capability. So back on the overview, we can see the instructions. The instructions relate to calling the Dataverse MCP, a description around the different tables that are on our Dataverse environment, and then an instruction to call our legacy system using computer use. So in order to sort of demonstrate the first use case, because this is an HR system, the main aim behind this is to add users into a Canvas app. So I happen to have a Canvas app here. You can tell I spent a lot of time building this, but I have various users, including Bill Gates, as you see from my demonstration on Tuesday. But if I jump back onto my agent and say, can you create me a new employee called, what would you like? Sharon Stone. All right, thanks very much for that, Anna. Sharon Stone in our core app. And what again will happen is our agent will reason over my ask. In a minute, it'll fire up the activity tab. And if it's going to behave, and then, or if we're really unlucky, it's going to do what it did the other day, which is to refresh the test pane. Let me try again. So can you create a new employee record for Sharon Stone? I'll get that into my clipboard. We'll try it again. It looks like we're having some better experience this time. So what's happening, as we can see, it's looked at the tools available. It's now going into the Dataverse MCP, and it is going away and creating a new record. But before doing that, it says it needs the following details. Okay, so Sharon's job role. Let's keep it clean, please. What's Sharon's job role?
Sharon's job role, she's a chef.
She's a chef, all right. She is a chef and will start on 1st of November. Her email is Sharon at, I'm just going to go with the classic example.com, and number is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, so with that information, I hope now that, yeah, we're seeing our MCP server kicking into action, and I've got a relational table or relational database behind the scenes, in that I've got 2 tables related. I've got the employee details and also the job roles. So initially there wouldn't have been a chef job role. If I scroll up, we can see, see if I can find the right one first of all. There will be a request here. So this one that I'm showing you right now, it is going into my table that contains the job roles and checking to see, do we have a job role called chef? Because we don't, it's then creating a new job role for chef, and even used AI to generate a description for what that chef's role is all about. After that, it's gone away and it's created a record for Sharon, and it's related it to that job role. And if we jump back onto that app where I showed you those users earlier, if I refresh the screen, we can see that Sharon Stone's been added here. And oh, have I done Sharon Stone? Oh, it did actually earlier work, but the correct one, look, as we see, has added Sharon as a chef. So we've got Sharon in there, and she's been added as a new employee on our HR system using MCP. So MCP is Model Context Protocol. I didn't really go into the details of what it stood for. If we go into tools and just quickly have a peek at that MCP server, ultimately what you do is you have the concept of servers, the MCP servers, you have the clients, which is Copilot Studio. You already have a connector for Dataverse MCP, and when you add it, it brings in all the tools that are available. So you can see quite a few different tools available. One of the cool new features that arrived is the ability to toggle and actually choose the tools rather than having all or nothing. So that's a fantastic feature to be aware of if you're not aware of it. But ultimately, you bring in that MCP connector, which connects to the server. It gives you these tools, and then those tools can start connecting to your data. And there are many different MCP server tools out there that you can connect to. So go away and have an explore and play around with those instructions. So that was MCP. The next thing within the capability of this agent is the ability to call another agent. So that's multi-agent. Now, in addition to multi-agent, we have a concept of agent to agent. That was also, well, I say announced. There will be a demo of it later on this afternoon officially. I had it in my presentation. It's not something I can show you today because it wasn't working, unfortunately, at the time, but it allows you to bring in agents from other platforms. And so if I go to the agents tab right now, you can see I have another agent. This happens to be a Copilot Studio agent, but in the shortness of time, you will eventually have a new button appear on this screen here that will allow you to connect to agents on different platforms using the protocol called A2A. So the likes of Google and other platforms will support A2A, and then you can bring them directly into your agents and create multi-agent infrastructure. Because I don't have that capability with me right now, I happen to have added another agent within the Copilot Studio infrastructure, and that particular agent is able to create documents. And of course, Sharon has just started her new job, or she will start her new job on the 1st of November, and I'm going to ask her, or not ask her, sorry, ask my agent, can you create, if I could spell, can you create me an offer contract for Sharon? Now, when I send this, if we're lucky, it will, there we go, already work out. It needs to call the HR document agent because the whole purpose of this agent is to create documents, and hopefully in return, it'll confirm that that document has been created for me, and then we can go and take a look at that document. There we go. So it's saying the document for Sharon has been created. I can jump across onto my SharePoint site. If I do a quick refresh, we can see we now have, from a few seconds ago, Sharon Stone's document. There are the details. She's going to be a chef and she'll start on the 1st of November. So already we have an agent that not only can create records in Dataverse, which connects to our Power App, we have an agent that can also create documents in the form of these contract offer letters. So we've now done MCP, we've had a look at multi-agent, and I've briefly touched on A2A, which is going to enable you to bring in agents from other platforms. The final piece is KUA, and KUA is computer use agents. It appears under tools. You can see I already have a computer use agent added. What it ultimately does is it is a bit like RPA. So for those that have used robotic process automation in the past, Power Automate Desktop, for instance, we now have KUA, which enables a language model to run a virtual machine and operate a web browser, in effect. And so this particular instruction or prompt is telling the agent to navigate to an HR website, log in with admin and password, and then proceed to creating a new employee registration. Now, to show you what that task might look like if I was doing it manually, here is my legacy system. And the reason I say legacy, we use KUA, we use RPA for legacy systems where there are no APIs. So rather than using a traditional connector, there's no way to connect to an API because this doesn't have one. Therefore, we look at RPA, or in the future, or now, we look at KUA, which is in preview. So my task is, whenever I get a new employee, they need to be registered on my legacy system. I can go and type in my username and password and log in and do a new employee registration and fill in the various details. In this case, Sharon, I would put in her details here, and a new record will be created on the legacy system. Now, of course, that's quite a bit of work. So I would rather have an agent to do that. So I'm going to use KUA. And in the chat again, if I keep my fingers crossed, and ask the agent, can you create a record for Sharon in our legacy system? Is there anything else I need to say at this point? I don't think so. I'm going to copy it just in case it resets. Hit enter. But I'm hoping it will look across the tools and see we've got computer use and begin to fire up a web hosted or web browser hosted machine. And that'll allow me to, or not me, allow the agent to launch a browser session, log into the website, and enter that data. So what we can see in the test pane right now is slowly happening. It certainly doesn't happen at the same pace as RPA, but for us, really, imagine this is happening in the background. It could be every day you get an export from a system. There are 10 new users. They need to be created. They're in an Excel spreadsheet. You pass that spreadsheet to your agent. It goes through this KUA process and it creates the 10 records for you. By the time you come in the morning, those records are already created on the legacy system. And so what we're seeing unfold right now is the launch of the browser window, and it will then go navigate to that legacy website. And shortly we'll see it appear on the screen. So there already, if I go and right click on this image and open it in a new tab, we can see that our agent has made it to the home page of our legacy system. So this will continue to unfold. You can see the thought process there. It's logging into the HR portal, it's typing in the credentials, and soon it will go through the process of creating that new record. And really the main advantage of using KUA over RPA is that we're taking advantage of language models being multimodal. So they have the ability to not only analyze text, but also images too. In this case, the images are based on screenshots of the machine that it's operating. If you've ever used RPA in the past, RPA is very heavily error prone. And as a result, you need to build a lot of error handling into your processes. KUA, because it is all based on the multimodal capability, it can review these images in real time. It's following that instruction that I've given that agent. I can define input parameters, I can define output parameters, and each time that process is carried out, the core instructions are followed and the language model is able to assess the screen at that time. So if the user interface changes day in, day out, or an error message comes up or the system's down, KUA will be able to deal with it a lot easier than you would with an RPA. RPA is very much script driven, and KUA is very much based on prompts as we know it. So we can see it's made quite a bit of progress. I'll open up another window just to see where things are at. We can see it's entered Shannon's name, it's picking the department, and it's working through that process. That, for me, is my demo's done, and I'm going to bring back in the team to close off the call. So I hope you've got plenty of learning from this today. You've seen not only an agent being used on your mobile phone with the voice capability, but also examples of MCP, KUA, and multi-agent, albeit A2A. Know that A2A is coming to Copilot Studio soon. Okay, so I'll stop the sharing and I'll bring the team in. Okay.
Thank you. Damien, can you come over here? We have some questions in the chat that would really help with your answer. The first one is, you did some amazing requests in the chat and then that sent them over to Dataverse. Is there a way that the chatbot could like warn you what it's about to do before it does that?
I think that's all down to the instructions at this point in time with MCP, so be as descriptive as possible with those instructions. I'd also say experiment with the different models for orchestration, because whilst GPT-5 is in preview, it is potentially better at following the instructions for more complex scenarios versus the current GPT model. But as with anything, you need to iterate over this and test and see what works for you.
Exactly. And then Stefan had a question about build agents as you would build domains in C# with their boundaries. Yeah, so Stefan, I can take that one here. Yes, you can build as many boundaries as you want, especially as Damien said with prompting, but ideally in Copilot Studio and whatever your source system is, you make sure you set your permissions there, and then you don't necessarily trust the prompting as your security measure, but I'm sure you knew that already. Final thing, we have the last word from Nathan.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for coming along for our second Copilotverse call. Huge thank you. So what you guys don't realize is this call literally came together 15 seconds ago. So I want to give a huge thanks to the team community, to everybody who came along, and to all of you for coming along to the call. Also, we will see you all next month with some more epic demos at Copilotverse. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.